I'm going to hold off on my questions until the members have got done to see if some of them are duplicative. And so, Ms. Underwood, the floor is yours for questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This weekend, the president made the remarkable statement that he, quote, doesn't know whether he has to uphold the Constitution.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you believe in the Constitution, if you believe in checks and balances, and if you believe in holding the executive branch accountable, then you're going to want to stick around for this one. I just watched a very heated exchange between Representative Lauren Underwood and Secretary Kristi Noem, and let me tell you, this wasn't just political theater. This was about the heart of our democracy. This was about the Constitution. And yes, it got testy, but for a damn good reason.
You, however, have taken a different position, both in your confirmation hearing and when you took the oath of office. You said that you were committed to complying with the Constitution. Do you still stand by that statement?
Absolutely. I believe President Trump
Excellent.
as well.
Let's start with Article 1, which gives Congress and only Congress the power of the purse. No money shall be drawn from the Treasury, but in consequence of appropriations made by law. But this administration is freezing, terminating, and even clawing back federal grants and awards that were already signed into law. These are taxpayer dollars that were appropriated by Congress for the specific purposes that we laid out. So, Secretary, let me ask you, do you believe the administration has the authority to subvert appropriations law to freeze and terminate congressional funding?
The administration and the Department of Homeland Security used our authorities that we have to evaluate every grant that was in front of us and meet statutory requirements, but also to make sure that they were being spent appropriate.
So, of course, the president is within his authorities.
Make sure
Ma'am,
that
this
we
is my
went
time.
forward.
Thank you so much. Of course, the president's within his authorities to drive policy decisions within the bounds of federal law and the Constitution, but that's not what you've been doing. What I'm asking is whether you believe you have the authority to ignore appropriations law. Do you believe that the Constitution gives the executive branch unilateral authority to withhold funds appropriated by the legislative branch?
We have evaluated grants to make sure if they're being spent appropriately, and work that is underway and was authorized has continued. Other grants that have not been started and have not been authorized or obligated, we have reevaluated. And I think you're talking specifically about grants potentially within FEMA that were non-disaster related grants.
I'm talking
Those
broadly, ma'am,
programs are
and
being-
Article 2 does not give the executive the authority to withhold funds, period. And multiple courts have weighed in to agree. Multiple courts have ruled in agreement. Congress controls the power of the purse. That is a fact. That's not a question. That is a fact. And so if the president disagrees with certain spending, Congress passed the Impoundment Act to create a legal process to seek rescissions, and we expect him to follow the law. This administration is not just ignoring the constitutional power of the people's elected representatives. It is also violating the fundamental right of individuals. Do you believe that the Constitution grants everyone in our country the right to due process, including non-citizens?
The administration has the authority to.
Ma'am, I'm
look
looking
at
for a
how
yes or
grants are
no
spent and
question.
to
Yes or no? Do you believe the
appropriate them
Constitution?
as
Yes,
appropriate.
ma'am. Do you,
We have
ma'am?
not conducted in
Reclaiming
any
my
kind
time,
of
Mr.
impoundment.
Chairman.
Time is yours.
Okay, Secretary Noem, I'm just looking for a yes or no here. Do you believe the Constitution guarantees due process to everyone in America?
Due process is exactly what this Congress
Yes
lays out.
or
that
no?
it is, and
Okay,
the
ma'am,
tools
I'll
that
take
you
that as
give
a
us
no.
on due process
Excuse me,
is
I'm trying,
afforded to.
ma'am, I'm trying to ascertain your understanding of the law as it applies to your department. And you as its leader should be able to give us a yes or no answer, because judge after judge has ruled that the law is not being followed. Do you believe that the U.S. government has the authority to deport American citizens?
No, and we are not deporting
great.
U.S. citizens.
I'm so happy to hear that you do not believe that the law gives you that authority, because the federal government has no authority under U.S. laws to deport any American citizen. And as I know, everyone viewing this hearing today knows that several American citizens have been deported to
haven't.
date.
That is not
Secretary
true.
Noem, that was not a question. Secretary Noem, that oath that we both swore before taking office was to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States, not the president, not a political party, the Constitution. And that's what we're going to keep doing here at the Appropriations Committee. Thank you. I yield back.
Let me be crystal clear. What Representative Underwood did in that hearing was exactly what we need from our elected officials right now. She wasn't just making a point. She was defending the fundamental structure of American government. And the fact that Secretary Noem danced around basic constitutional questions, that should alarm all of us. Underwood starts off by reminding everyone of Article 1 of the Constitution, the one that gives Congress the exclusive authority to appropriate funds. This isn't some obscure legal technicality. This is foundational. Congress controls the money, period. And yet, here we have an administration, enabled by people like Secretary Noem, freezing, terminating, and clawing back grants that Congress already passed into law. These are taxpayer dollars, already appropriated, already signed off. That's not oversight. That's obstruction. And when Underwood pressed Noem on whether the executive has unilateral authority to withhold funds, Noem didn't say yes. She didn't say no. She waffled. She dodged. She offered bureaucratic doublespeak about evaluating grants and statutory compliance. But she never directly answered the damn question. That's not transparency. That's evasion. Then the conversation shifts to due process, and this is where it gets even more troubling. Underwood asked a simple question. Does the Constitution guarantee due process to everyone in the United States, including non-citizens? Now, if you've read the Constitution, or hell, just understand basic American civics, the answer is yes. The 5th and 14th Amendments don't say citizens. They say persons. That's been upheld by courts over and over again. It's a settled principle of law. But Secretary Noem wouldn't give a straight answer. She dodged again. And Underwood was absolutely right to call that out. Because if someone in charge of a federal department can't say outright that people in America, regardless of immigration status, are owed due process, that's not just negligence. That's a threat to civil liberties. And let's be honest, what kind of administration has to think twice about whether people should get due process? And then, perhaps most shockingly, Underwood brought up something that should chill every American to their core. U.S. citizens being deported. She asked Noem if the government has the authority to deport American citizens. Noem said no, which is the correct answer. But here's the thing. It's already happened. Several American citizens have been deported. This isn't hypothetical. It's real. So when Noem answered that they aren't deporting American citizens, she's either unaware of what's happening under her own nose, or she's being deliberately misleading. Neither is acceptable. This is not a game. This is not partisan mudslinging. This is about people's lives. People who were born here, who live here, who are American, being removed from their own country. That should enrage every single patriot in this country, regardless of party. What made this entire exchange so powerful is how Underwood ended it. She reminded Secretary Noem, and by extension, the American public, that we swear an oath to the Constitution, not to a president, not to a party, not to a political ideology. And that right there, that's the essence of American patriotism. You can wave all the flags you want, but if you're defending illegal executive overreach or undermining due process, you're not upholding the Constitution. You're helping dismantle it. So here's what I'll say to wrap this up. Lauren Underwood showed real courage in that room. She spoke truth to power. She didn't let evasion slide. She stood her ground, and she did it not as a partisan, but as a defender of our democracy. We need more of that. We need more people who believe that liberty means accountability, that freedom means due process, that patriotism means upholding the law, even when it's politically inconvenient. So if you're watching this and you believe that the Constitution should apply to everyone, that Congress, not the president, controls the purse strings, and that no American should be deported from their own country, then hit that like button, share this video, and subscribe. We have to stay vigilant. We have to stay loud. And most of all, we have to stay principled. Thanks for watching. Stay strong, stay informed, and never stop fighting for the America we know is possible.